6-year-old brother who's in the 3rd grade. He comes home every day after school talking about how much he hates it. And in fact, last year when he was in the 2nd grade, he missed the whole month of October due to the fact of never feeling well and stomach problems. So my mom would take him to different doctors, different hospitals, because they couldn't figure out what was wrong with him. And then towards the end of the month, he confessed that he just didn't like going to school, so he made up being sick. I was like, wow, smart little boy, because I wouldn't have been able to pull that off for a full month, and he did. And he was only 7 years old. So you should listen to me, because we live in the state of California, and our future kids will be learning by the Common Core state standards. Common Core State Initiative, the NGA Center, which develops innovative solutions, in 2015 stated that California adopted the Common Core State Standards on August 2nd of 2010. And 42 other states also adopted these standards. And if you were to move to a different state that adopted these standards, then that means that your children will be in the same same spot that they left off in, so they wouldn't be ahead or behind than any other students. And then they also have the same expectations for that for a learning outcome if they're in the grades K through 12. So in this speech, I will talk about the Common Core. First, I will talk about the English Language Arts standards. Second, I will talk about the mathematics standards. And third, I will talk about how it is applied to students with disabilities. So let's move on to my first topic, which is the English Language Arts. And most of us started speaking around the age of 1, some of us sooner, some of us later. And so English, has been a big subject ever since we were little. And English is broken up into parts. So we have the 4 strands, which is reading, writing, speaking, and listening, and language. And then that is divided into topics. So each strand, then it has 4 topics that the teacher has to teach. And then from those topics is the standard statement, which is what the student has to learn by the end of the year. And in English, it's broken up from kindergarten through 5th grade. And kindergarten through 5th grade has these 4 strands up at the top. And then 6 through 12 is added 2 more strands, which is reading, it's reading, qualitative and quantitative, which right now it's, if you were to show a picture, it's a triangle, and that is where the students input it into real life situations, like they have to face certain things. And not only do they do that, but they also have, I'm sorry, I'm freaking out right now. Okay. So they also okay, we can okay, I'll just move on to my second topic, which is math. Math is also broken up, but it's broken up from kindergarten through 8th grade. And what they do is hands-on learning. So they use, they study addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, algebra, geometry, everything basically that we learn, but it's more hands-on. And once you hit the 9th grade through 12, it's more of also applying it to real life issues and challenges. There's 8 standards for math, which is applied for kindergarten through 12th grade. which is make sense of problems and persevere in solving them, attend to precision, model with mathematics, look for and make sense of structure, use appropriate tools, and construct arguments and reason, critique reasoning of others, as well as look for and make sense of structure. And what the teachers don't really have like a way of teaching. What they do is research the top ways like of showing students equations or ways that they know are going to help them learn math, and they have to get it approved by the Common Core initiative, and then once it is approved, that's the way they use it. They don't really have like a certain way. What they want kids to do is, rather than focusing on a certain equation, they want them to learn like how to get the right answer. So instead of like, let's say we learned it a certain way, there might be like 3 different ways that the teacher will teach, and when it comes to the state testing, they don't have to use one of like the way, one way, like they can use whichever way is better for them, and that's basically how math is. So now we're moving on to my third one, which is applying it to students with disabilities. So we all know that they have a harder time in comprehending subjects or even learning like just little things. Like as babies, it takes harder for them to walk, to talk, to do certain stuff. So teachers are required to teach at a slower rate than with normal students. They also have a method of, it's called time delay. So what they do is the first day they ask a certain question and they answer it like right after they ask the question. The second day they ask that same question and then they give the students 2 to 3 seconds to answer. The third day, again, they ask the same question and then give them more time, and so on until the student has enough time where they can answer. And then they also have this method of making sure of where their progress is, because it's better to keep making frequently progress checks rather than keep on going and then having to do a progress check and then they figure out that one person out of the whole group is behind and doesn't really comprehend, rather than just keeping the whole group within the same time period. And then go ahead. And then how I said it's for them, it's applied a little bit differently, because instead of actually showing them like subtraction the way we did, we all know addition is a little bit easier than subtraction. I mean, subtraction is not that hard, but for someone with a disability, addition might be a lot easier. So rather than showing them a different way of subtraction, they add addition to it in order for them to get the right answer. And then that's like one way of how they do it. And they also have the teachers have a 6-step method plan where they select a text and then adapt the text to the day. They do research-based structures for them to teach them stuff, and then they also have a writing component for English, and then for math, what they do is they just try to do more of a hands-on with them. They also use a lot of technology because they feel like it's easier for them, and they want to do things more exciting as well. So with technology, of course, we all get excited. We all want to, it's easier for us to just, comprehend certain things. So with that, I talked in the speech about Common Core. First, I talked about the English language arts standards. Second, I talked about the math standards. And third, I talked about how it was applied with disability. And now I hope with this speech you guys, for the future, can know a little bit more, and it'll be easier for you guys to help out your future kids when they need help. Thank you.